Hi, everybody. I'm here. Dr. Fauci is not here yet, but welcome to my office. They say I'm an AAD, almost a doctor. So I fancy myself that for my family. But anyway, I think it's a great opportunity to be able to hear straight from Dr. Fauci's mouth what we should be doing and address some of the concerns and questions that I know I have and that I've kind of found from around my friends and family that they're still curious about. I have my trusty sidekick Heather here who's going to be reading the questions because I can't both be talking to you and looking at all those questions. So
right now everyone's saying hi.
Sir, hi everybody from wherever you may be.
You look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Hola,
What is it, curls or straight hair? Because that's a big question
is on.
in all of these things. My fans. Emilio likes it more on the straight side. I kind of like it curly. It's more me.
Tiene caballo precioso.
No, caballo, no niña, cabello.
Cabello.
Okay, I'm going to have to give Heather
cabello.
some Spanish lessons.
Looking
over
amazing.
here.
Hi, Missy. Oh, look, from the Netherlands.
Hi, Netherlands. Who else is there?
Curls on the beach. No, curls best. On the beach here in Miami.
All right, I think I need to get a different assistant over here
Curls all the way.
to read these
Abrazo
things.
desde Mexico.
Okay, in the meantime though, I know I have my list of questions. Anybody have questions? Hola a todo el mundo en español. Quiero advertirles que esto va a estar en inglés, porque Dr. Fauci no creo que hable español. Pero
Spain.
ya lo traduciremos después. Pero saludos a toda mi gente que habla español de todas partes del mundo y los quiero mucho. ¿Qué les puedo decir? Y gracias por estar aquí conmigo hoy.
Janet Paul, don't make fun of me.
I won't make fun of you,
No,
Janet Paul.
Janet Paul's making fun of me.
Oh, Janet Paul's making fun of Heather. All right. Janet, love you, my amiga. Anybody have some burning questions for Dr. Fauci that you want to give me right now? Just in case, while we're waiting for him to get on. He's a very busy man, so we're waiting for him to be able to have the time, obviously. He's always talking to the White House and various and sundry people. So I feel honored to have him in my office here.
El COVID-19 puede repetir de nuevo.
Eso te lo puedo aceptar, es decir yo ahora, el COVID-19 sí puede repetir, porque una de mis amigas que está, no voy a decirla por nombre, pero ella tuvo COVID en septiembre, lo tuvo no tan mal, lo acaba de pasar de nuevo y bastante mal. No sabemos si ella recibió un nuevo strain aquí en Miami. Ella es de otro país y lo tuvo en su país en septiembre, así que sí, puede repetirse.
We need yearly vaccines.
All right, that's a good one. Definitely gonna ask that.
Can I see your assistant? No.
Say hello, Heather. No, say hello with your face. Come on, say hello. Heather, get on there and say hi, so they know who you are and what you're doing. There she is. She's sneaking in there.
Could you ask him if...
They asked me in Spanish to ask Fauci if you can get this twice, and I can tell you without having to ask Dr. Fauci, you can absolutely get it twice. A friend of mine who had gotten it in her home.
Did you get the vaccine?
I have not gotten the vaccine yet, by the way. I wasn't eligible. I was waiting, and I was waiting 3 months because I had COVID back in November. So the minute that I can, which will be very soon, I will get the vaccine. Emilio has gotten it. But yes, you can get COVID twice. People, you gotta watch out.
About children getting the vaccine?
Yes, I will ask about the children getting the vaccine. I also have questions about, pregnant women or anybody that has autoimmune diseases. My dad had MS, so I want to ask particularly about people with those kinds of things. That will be one of my questions to Dr. Fauci.
I have been vaccinated. Does that mean I can now gather with other vaccinated family members?
I know that the CDC has not come out yet with their guidelines, but generally, if you have gotten the vaccine, you can gather with other people that have gotten the vaccine. That should be a pretty safe situation. Now, remember this, people, once you get the vaccine, you might not get infected, but you could still carry if someone sneezes on you or coughs on you, and then someone else touches any of those droplets, you can still pass it on, I believe. But that's a good question that I'm going to ask Dr. Fauci if I can get in.
If my
don't know how much time he'll give
daughter
me.
is at risk,
asthma would be at risk. If your asthmatic daughter, I still don't know the cutoff for children. I'm going to ask Dr. Fauci, hopefully, what that number is. And I'm sure that they will eventually come up with a vaccine for kids.
Is the rhythm going to get you after you get the vaccine?
The rhythm will get you before, during, and after the vaccine. Absolutely. The rhythm is deadlier than COVID-19.
How about breastfeeding? Can you get the vaccine?
Good question. I'll ask him about breastfeeding. I mean, I would imagine that maybe the immunity would pass to the baby if it's in your breast milk. But I don't know. What do I know? That's a good question, though. That's a good thing to ask Dr. Fauci. Anybody else? Let's see.
Questions about breastfeeding. Is it safe? Someone who works in the medical field, they get constant questions about breastfeeding.
Good question to ask.
If it's safe with the vaccine.
I'm going to add it here. I'm going to add it.
Or after having COVID, is it safe also?
I'm going to ask that because I'm very curious about that myself. I'm wondering why we have to wait 3 months. So I'm going to ask Dr. Fauci that in case. I thought maybe it was because they know usually the immunity lasts for 3 months. I've been tested repeatedly for different, things that we've had to do, and it shows that I have immunity.
Allergies in the vaccine.
Which shows, I'm definitely asking that. Allergies in the vaccine.
I'm 33 and had 2 strokes recently. Is it okay for me to get the shot?
I will ask Dr. Fauci if I can. If
you've been booster shots in the future.
A stroke victim, I would guess probably that we're going to need booster shots because that's how it is with viruses, and every year we get the flu shot. I imagine that. I don't know. I imagine that we still don't know a lot about how long even the immunity will last with the vaccine. That's another thing that I wanted to ask Dr. Fauci. But until we get there, I mean, the vaccines have only been out here in the United States, since maybe December? These are all questions that I imagine might be still open-ended even for Dr. Fauci. I mean, he's an amazing doctor, but he's not a psychic. And I know that our medical professionals are all probably wondering the same things and waiting for data, waiting for scientific proof as to what has happened. I know that they tested the vaccines on people, so I'm curious about the test groups.
If you have a weak immune system, is it safe to get a vaccine?
I'm asking about the immune system.
Does this vaccine cover new strands?
From what I know, it does cover several of those new strains. I will ask him again. I also am curious about whether or not the strains are more lethal or if they have a different time between the time that you acquire the disease and the onset of the symptoms. So I'm curious. And by the way, virus, and this I know, it's not Dr. Estefan talking, I'm passing on information. I know for a fact that viruses mutate. They're living creatures that don't like to come under attack either. So they want to stay alive just as much as we do. And depending on whose body they get into and that person's immune system, the person can create the new strain within themselves. It's not just like you get it from somewhere else. We actually create these new strains. And probably, I was hearing Dr. Fauci earlier talking about that. Sometimes people that don't have a lot of immunity from the time they get COVID could create new strains in their body. So I will ask him about that.
This person is on your feet currently at Broadway Palm.
Oh, hi. What's her name?
Jasmine
Sanchez. You're on your feet in Fort Myers?
It says at Broadway Palm.
At Broadway Palm. Oh my God, all my On Your Feet family that is out there. By the way, I have a question for my On Your Feet family. Wait, go back, see if she'll answer. How are you doing the kissing scenes? You're all wearing face shields. Do you just eliminate the kissing or do you fake it like that if you're get together with the other person and do shield to shield? I was wondering that myself.
Did Emilio have any side effects from the vaccine?
Emilio had no side effects. I had and again, I do not make any money from these products that I tell you people. But my friend, Dr. Eileen Marty, the infectious disease doctor, our personal guru here, part of my Dirty Dozen friends from high school, 12 of us, that have been having weekly Zooms and usually centered around COVID questions to Eileen. And she told me that, especially he didn't have any side effects after the first one. She said, if you want to prevent, in the second shot, take some Theraflu prophylactically, like the day you take the vaccine, the second one, and it worked for him. I don't know if it was the Theraflu or he just wasn't going to get side effects, but I rather err on the side of caution and prevent whatever I can. And also to take something to an hour before you get the vaccination for your arm, like Tylenol or Advil or Motrin. I know you're not supposed to take ibuprofen when you have COVID, but for the vaccine, I imagine it's okay. And then to move your arm around a lot, just to keep everything, moving smoothly there. But yeah, he's a beast, Emilio. That man is, I've never seen him sick. He's just so much energy, and even with the vaccines, he just kept going. He went right to work, and maybe he keeps himself so busy that he doesn't even have time to think about any side effect he might be feeling and just blows through it. But no, he really didn't feel anything at all. He was a lucky guy.
Dr. Fauci should be on
some people.
in 3 to 5 minutes.
Oh, Dr. Fauci will be on in 3 to 5 minutes, people. They're keeping us posted here.
Did your taste return to normal
Yes.
after?
Thank the Lord, my taste returned. It took about a week to 10 days for it to start coming back, but it was a process, absolutely a process. And now I think it's back, and my smell and everything, because I'm like a DEA dog, people. I can smell things so well. That's how I knew I had this bug, because I go, it can be nothing else, really. And I was very lucky. I was very fortunate that my symptoms weren't terrible. Although I got to tell you, my cough went away completely, and then it came back a little bit. So, and now it's gone again. So I heard that sometimes symptoms come and go. But, we just have to fight this as much as we can. And I know there's a lot of people out there and a lot of you that are concerned. Listen, everybody's concerned, all right? It's not like, and by the way, yes, the vaccine, they were able to develop it way faster than before, but we have a lot better technology. There was a lot of cooperation worldwide, and we were in a pandemic, so there was absolutely reason to get out there and make it happen fast. I think because of the times we're living in, we were able to develop this vaccine sooner. But, people, of course, were concerned.
We're ready.
I would rather err on the side of caution, and we're going to ask Dr. Fauci so he can allay our fears. Wait, what happened here?
Hold on,
My assistant did something strange.
No.
Wait, no.
Where's the other one?
Hold on. Where did Dr. Fauci go?
I know.
Oh, we're supposed to go to Dr. Fauci. Can you search Dr. Fauci on there?
No, hold on. Let me tell him to request it.
Yes, tell her to request one more time, please. Ooh, don't want to keep Dr. Fauci waiting. Would never want to. We're scrolling so many people so fast that, we lost when Dr. Fauci came in. Oh, there it is. White House? Is that it? Can you see?
No, but not in. Hold on.
Is it that the White House?
Wait.
Request the White House.
Hold on. Live videos will be.
Hold on, people. We're trying to get this thing squared away.
Go
Go live in a room. Heather is having a bit of a snafu here.
No, it's just because all these requests are coming in at the same time.
Okay, people, don't request to go live because we're losing Dr. Fauci, his request. Let's see now. Oh,
White House.
there it is.
View requests. Okay, go. Here we go.
Right. And where are we? Let's see.
Oh, there we go.
Dr. Fauci.
Hi, Gloria.
How are you, Dr. Fauci?
I'm very well.
Welcome, and first let me say that thank you so much for being a shining light for us. And, rather than going off and enjoying your life after such a storied career and, and the dangers that were out there, thank you for sticking it out through very tough times, I imagine, and being there for us. You've been a shining light and a beacon to all of us through this very dark time, and I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
You have a lot
Thank
of
you.
fans, Dr. Fauci.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the Instagram.
Thank you for being here. And, I have 12 friends from high school. We get together every Wednesday on a Zoom. One of them is Dr. Eileen Marty, an infectious disease doctor. So we have been following both you and Dr. Marty's been keeping us schooled with down to charts and graphs and all kinds of things to make sure we understand. We have so many questions for her, but I have questions for you. I know you're busy, so I'm going to get on with it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. I was COVID positive November 8th. I tested negative the 22nd and 24th. So I wasn't eligible yet for the vaccine because of my age. And they told me to wait 3 months. Why wait 3 months? Is it because it's harmful, or is it because we still have immunity and we didn't want to waste the vaccine, or any other reason?
So, Gloria, theoretically, the situation is that you're making antibodies against the COVID proteins. The vaccine itself is the spike protein of the coronavirus. And the concern theoretically is that if you have a lot of level of antibody, it's going to bind to the protein and diminish the effect of the potency of the vaccine. That's only a theoretical consideration. How long did they ask you to wait?
They told me 3 months, but I know for a fact I still have immunity because I've gotten repeatedly tested.
I would not wait any longer, Gloria. I believe that the advantage of getting the boost from the vaccine far outweighs the theoretical possibility that your own existing immunity is going to interfere. And we know that the immunity that's induced by the vaccine in general is more potent than the immunity that's induced by infection. So my advice would be, at your convenience, when you want to get vaccinated, get vaccinated.
I'm absolutely going to do it, Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
And I have a friend that is going through it for the second time, COVID, because she didn't develop immunity the first time. So absolutely, I'm going to do it. We had questions from our viewers here. Can pregnant women get the vaccine? And that, especially that might be breastfeeding, maybe not pregnant anymore, but women that are breastfeeding, can they get the vaccine? Will it pass anything on to the baby?
Okay, so the way the situation is with pregnant women is that the formal tests to determine the safety and the immunogenicity, in fact, have not been done. However, importantly, the situation after the EUA was granted to both the mRNA vaccine of Moderna and of Pfizer, several thousands of women who were pregnant have gotten the vaccine. Many of them were healthcare providers who felt that the risk of getting COVID-19 from a patient was much more than any potential risk of the vaccine. So they got vaccinated. And with several thousand having got vaccinated, there are no red flags of any problems that have arisen. So even though we haven't formally tested it in a clinical trial way, the fact is pregnant women need to make a decision of whether they want to get vaccinated or not. The risk benefit clearly falls in the favor of the benefit as opposed to the risk. And that includes pregnant women, breastfeeding women, same thing.
Great. That is very helpful. I've heard a lot of women express concerns, young women express concerns about their fertility. And I know things get out there, the internet, everybody writes things. Do you see any concern for young women because of their fertility situation?
Gloria, there's no biological reason whatsoever why they would have anything to do with fertility. It's a messenger RNA that doesn't interfere with any of your own genes, doesn't have anything to do with any of the other functions, and it gets degraded within a very short period of time. So biologically, there's no reason to believe that that's an issue.
Beautiful. In Miami-Dade County, we've detected the UK variant, the New York and the Brazil variant. Does the infectious dose of the SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19, in humans differ by viral variant?
You just blocked out and froze for a second there, Gloria. So if you could repeat the question.
I got you. Absolutely. We've got all three variants in Miami-Dade County, the UK, New York, and Brazil. Does the infectious dose of the COVID-19 in humans differ by viral variant? Like, can you get more, disease by the other variants?
Well, there are a couple of aspects to it. For example, the 117, which is the one that started off in the UK, it is more infectious than the standard wild type, which means that theoretically, but probably in reality also, if you get infected, the viral load in your nasopharynx would be higher. We're starting to look at the two in California, which I believe the one in California is the 427, 429 variant. That one, we don't have as much information, but that looks like that also spreads more readily. So when you have a virus that spreads more readily, that means likely the viral load will be higher in the nasopharynx. What that ultimately means is unable to say. We know that the Brazilian isolate, the 351, not only spreads more readily, but it also evades some of the protection of monoclonal antibodies and diminishes the impact of the vaccine. So they're all really different, but it doesn't appear, except for one, that makes it more virulent, and that's the 351. There's one in New York also.
Yes.
There's a 526 one that seems to be confined to New York. I don't believe it has yet gotten to California.
It's gotten to Miami-Dade, though, because
it has, yeah.
My friend,
right.
the infectious disease doctor, said. So all you spring breakers out there, please be careful. If you have immunity, for example, such as I have, what are the chances of me getting a different variant from the original COVID that I got, like reinfecting?
That's a great question. And it depends a bit on your previous question. It depends on the variant involved. In the South African experience, people who were originally infected with the standard virus and recovered found that they did not have any protection against the 351 variant in South Africa. We have 351 right now in the United States, but it isn't particularly prevalent. But that's one example that even if you get infected and recover from that, the variant can easily infect you again.
And would the vaccine then give you more coverage than having had COVID? Because what does it cover? Do we know yet if it covers all the variants?
No, that's a great question, Gloria. The answer is we found in the South African study that people who were vaccinated were not completely protected against the variant, but it clearly protected them against severe disease, hospitalization, and death. Whereas the prior infection wasn't as good as vaccination in protecting you. So vaccine was better.
So definitely good idea to get it just to protect, because let's say you get it, at least there won't be death and hospitalization if you were to get reinfected, which is a chance. So please, spring breakers, be careful out there. It's rough at the moment, with all this, despite the vaccines. And I'm happy that we do have the vaccines. That's really excellent. What would be your best pitch? Because as you know, there's many people that have lost their trust in many previously respected organizations because of mixed messages we've been receiving from our government, from medical experts, from so much chatter on the internet. What would be your best pitch to those on the fence about receiving the COVID-19 vaccine?
Yeah, I think the best pitch is that if you look at the data about the safety and the efficacy, take a look at how it was established. It was established by clinical trials involving tens of thousands of people. Moderna trial, 30,000. Pfizer, 44,000. J&J, 40,000. The important thing that people need to appreciate is that the decision as to whether or not it is safe and effective is not made by the federal government elected officials, not made by the pharmaceutical company. It's made by an independent data and safety monitoring board who is representative of the people, not of the companies or of the government. With all of the vaccines that have been approved thus far, the data and safety monitoring board came to an independent decision to say that the results look good. Then when the FDA approves it, they do it in a completely open, public, transparent process with their advisory board, which again is completely independent. So the message to people who have concerns is that the determination of whether it's safe and effective has been completely independent and transparent. And that's the reason why people like public officials, like myself. I publicly got vaccinated because I have very, very strong confidence that the process was a good process and that the vaccine is safe and effective. The president and the vice president did exactly the same thing.
Thank you very much. You know, my father suffered from MS. How do you think the vaccine would affect people suffering with autoimmune diseases like multiple sclerosis, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, Graves, or inflammatory bowel disease? Would you still recommend that they get this vaccine?
Gloria, I would strongly recommend that they get it for the simple reason that people who have those autoimmune diseases are very likely on immunosuppressive drugs like corticosteroids or some of the monoclonal antibodies that block immune response, which means that if they get the COVID-19 disease, they are more likely to have a serious outcome that would lead to hospitalization and possibly death. So even though the vaccine, because of their immunosuppression, may not be as robustly responsive in them, it still will give them some protection. But some protection is better than no protection.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I heard for a moment that people that were allergic to penicillin might have an issue with it. Do you agree with that, or maybe other allergies?
Well, there is an incidence, very unusual and rare, of an anaphylactic reaction to the mRNA vaccines, between 4 and 5 per million for the Pfizer and between 2 to 3 per million for the Moderna. It is generally seen in people who have a history of anaphylactic reactions in general. If you do have a history of anaphylactic reaction, you should still get the vaccine so long as it isn't a reaction against one of the components of the vaccine. But if you've had an anaphylactic reaction to a food or to a drug, you could still get vaccinated, but you should do it in a facility that can readily treat an anaphylactic reaction, such as a clinic where there's a nurse involved that is there with an EpiPen or something else that could be used to treat the anaphylactic reaction.
Okay, thank you so much. When do you believe that the CDC will offer guidelines of how we should conduct ourselves once we've been vaccinated? And in the meantime, what would be your suggestions for people that have been vaccinated to go about their business?
Well, the CDC is going to come out with their recommendations truly very soon, Gloria. I would imagine within a period of days. I know that because I've been working with them on that, with the director, Dr. Walensky. What we do agree on, and there'll be more of this, is that if you have 2 vaccinated people, and I've said this publicly before, so I'll say it now, it almost certainly will be in the guidelines. If you have 2 vaccinated people who are in the home setting, who are protected because of the vaccine, that they don't have to wear masks or need physical distancing. They can have a normal social interaction in the setting of the home. We're not talking about outside, we're talking about in the protected section of the home. There will be further delineation of what can be done when the CDC guidelines come out, but it's going to be at least that.
Great. And is there any particular circumstance that you know of where you would tell someone, whoever it is, not to get the vaccine?
The only time that I would say a person should not get a vaccine that has a history of anaphylactic reaction, if they have an anaphylactic reaction to something known to be in the vaccine. Otherwise, there are very, very few reasons, in fact, none that I can think of other than that, for a person not to get vaccinated. I want to remember so they don't get confused. It isn't like if you had an if you have allergic reactions to other things, you still can get the vaccine. It's only if you know that you have an anaphylactic reaction to something in the vaccine itself.
For example, what in the vaccine, doctor?
Ethylene glycol, for example.
All right. Ethylene glycol.
Right.
All right. Okay, great. And you recently spoke at a WHO meeting. What are the benefits for the USA returning to a cooperative relationship with international health?
Well, Gloria, this is a global pandemic, and a global pandemic means a global response. The United States has always been a leader in the global response to outbreaks. Just take a look at history. HIV/AIDS with the development of the PEPFAR program, the Global Fund, the response to Ebola, the response to Zika, the response to pandemic flu. We are a very important part of the global response to global outbreaks. The world looks to us for leadership. And that's the reason why it's so important and why I felt so good when President Biden asked me one day after his inauguration to make the announcement to the executive board of WHO that we were going to rejoin them as a full partner and member nation.
Doctor, I appreciate so much your time, and I don't want to take a lot of it, but to end this chat, unless there's something that you want to say after we do this, I know very much how the messenger RNA works in the vaccine. Could you, for the people watching right now, explain, because there's so much concern that if they're injecting you with the actual COVID, that people would rather take a risk whether they catch it or not. Is there a simple way you could explain how the messenger RNA vaccine works and the little bit of fat that they inject into our
Sure.
bodies?
So any protein that is made in the body is made because there is a genetic code called messenger RNA that instructs the body to make a protein. What the messenger RNA vaccine is, it's a messenger RNA that contains the codal information to tell the body to make this protein that is the main protein in the SARS-CoV-2. It's called a spike protein. If this is the virus, the spikes are the ones that stick out. When the body makes a response against the spike protein, it protects you against the entire virus. So if you inject the RNA into the body, the RNA signals to make a protein. The body sees the protein, thinks it's the virus, but it's not the virus. It's perfectly safe. It starts making antibodies and cellular response against the protein. So when the virus, the real virus, is exposing to you, your body sees it and prevents you from getting infected.
Thank you, doctor. And by the way, before I forget, one of the viewers asked the question, said that they had had a couple of strokes recently, that if you feel that it would be okay for them to get the vaccine.
Yes, other underlying illnesses are not a contraindication to get the vaccine.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there anything you would like to say to my Instagrammers out there that you feel you'd like to share before we end this?
Sure. I want to thank you publicly to your Instagram followers for all the good work that you do. I heard you speaking on your Instagram before I got on. You were there telling the truth, encouraging people to do the right thing. So please keep it up, Gloria, and thank you for doing that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fauci. I can tell you this, my behavior will permanently change. I probably will never get on another airplane without wearing a mask. I just think that I will feel much safer. And we are being as careful as we can, both with people in my family that have had the vaccination and those that as yet have not. But everyone in my family is absolutely planning on getting it. My husband already got the shots. He did not have any side effects, thankfully. And we're all going to do it. So thank you very much. And I want to thank you, all of the scientific community for doing such a difficult job as to getting this vaccine out there so quickly. I know we have better technology and maybe why don't you speak to that? Because a lot of people say it used to take 10 years 8 years, 5, however long to get a vaccine, and they may not trust the speed with which we have been able to get this vaccine. Would you like to speak to that before we go?
Sure. The speed is not cutting corners at all. The speed is merely a reflection of the extraordinary scientific advances that had been made over many years. So even though it took less than a year to get the vaccine, when it usually takes several years, that speed is a reflection of scientific advances. Safety was not compromised, nor was scientific integrity compromised.
Thank you, Dr. Fauci, for doing such a great job and for keeping us informed and throughout this very difficult situation, and for hanging in there and continuing to do so much public service. And when you could be chilling out and relaxing, let's be honest, you could be hiding away and keeping yourself and your family safe, and you have chosen to stay around for the public good, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Gloria. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you too, Doctor. Thank you.